common man. Common man, charge the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
You find this funny, Mr. Groh? You're smiling. You find this humorous? No, they're not. Do you find this humorous, Mr. Groh? You're laughing and smiling. I'm just wondering if you do. You didn't answer my question, Mr. Groh. Do you find this humorous?
No, I find it keeping the 4 years.
At least you're not smiling and laughing now. Oh, I guess you're back at it again now.
And the silence you hear is Lambeau Field.
We're not going home yet, baby!
Timberwolves superfan KFAN's Dan Barrero.
How do you like me now?
He's already heard.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Game plan looks like.
I think we have a very good mix right now. I mean, the morning show does well, comparatively speaking, especially given what it has to go against. Dubers and I have done well, knock on wood, for 4 years. Common and Hartman have done okay. In my estimation, the primetime player on our station. And cultivating a couple of kids in Sludge and Lake. And, you know, we have the Vikings and maybe some things down the road. So I think we're strong right now.
Let's play!
All this negativity that's in this town sucks.
Time for 2 more.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the 4th in the North. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
Half of that. Can you hear me? Yes, half of that's accurate. The other half is not. Greetings, good afternoon. Ack, and dak, and you to yours, and Hebita. That's all, folks. I'm Common. He's Tenneby. We are here until 3. It's a throw in the towel Thursday. If you think we put a very little effort into any show this week, wait till you get a load of today, and tomorrow could even be worse. Tenneby's out, I believe, tomorrow. I think Brett Blakemore will be in that chair. Tenneby, are you and you're going to be off for a few days, right? You guys are your family. Yeah. You're going to laugh and cry and have fun together, right?
Well, yeah. Tomorrow's a separate thing, but yeah, a week from tomorrow, yeah, we're off on a little spring break vacation. And
do you mind saying where you're going to go, or?
Yeah, we're going to Disney World.
Are you going to say I'm going to Disney?
After all the success on the Common program over the last year, I feel like I should be going to Disney World for it.
Disney World, Disney. Which one did they, at the end of the big game, did they say they're going to Disneyland?
They said Disney World.
Disney World.
Don't they?
I think. And you're going to Disneyland.
No, I'm going to Disney World.
Oh, Disney World.
We've been to Disneyland as a family twice.
Which one's in Orlando? Which one's in California?
Disney World is in Florida. And Disneyland is in Anaheim.
Okay. And which one have you been to
We've
twice?
Been to Disneyland twice. It's smaller.
Yeah. So you're going to Orlando this time?
Yes.
The big O.
Well, kids love them some Disney, so we had to go to the one we hadn't been to yet.
Well, I know there are adults that work at this radio station that still go to Disneyland and Disney World without kids, and they're in their 60s. And it's okay. You know, who am I to?
It's a magical place.
I'm sure it is. Can I say this?
I don't mind that. It's if you go to anything Disney related, the people that'll be like overly dressed up as if they're a character, and then like if they'll see someone walking in a Minnie Mouse costume and they just go berserk, it's like, you're an adult. You know that's just a human being under a mascot.
Yeah.
And they go crazy. Someone will just go, it's bonkers.
I've got to admit, and maybe I shouldn't, this could be wrong, but I don't think it is, and I really don't care. I'm just so glad my kids weren't into the Disney character stuff. I'm sure it's fun, but
Have you never been?
No, and I never will.
What?
Why would I want to go to Disneyland or Disney World? It's just basically like going to the Midway at the State Fair, right? I mean, that's it. It's a little
better, but yeah.
It's like going to Valley Fair.
I think it's a little better, but yeah.
But it's rides and more rides and more rides and more rides. I have zero interest in climbing on a ride. Zero. I wasn't into the Disney characters. Now, if it was like Hanna-Barbera World, where you had Yogi Bear and the Flintstones and some of those cartoons.
That would be all men in their 60s going to now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
you might have a great idea on your hands.
Disneyland and Disney World. So, and that basically is it, right? It's like a ride park. They're just
I mean, they have multiple theme parks in Orlando.
Yeah.
So they got the Magic Kingdom, which is the first initial place, and then Epcot Center, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios. It's basically just multiple theme parks.
Okay. And you like it?
Yeah. I mean, as long as the kids are handling it the proper way.
Yeah. That's even like, have you ever gone to... Now, I'll do the endorsement if Wisconsin Dells wants to advertise. Have you ever been to Wisconsin Dells with the kids?
I actually haven't. My oldest has. I have not been there.
Ooh.
I'd like to go. I like water slides.
Yeah, it's...
Looks like you're not going to get that endorsement.
Yeah, well, again, we went once and, it was all right, even the kids, after a couple of days, said we had like a 3 or 4 day weekend. After 2 days, we just kind of went. I mean, how many times can you go down a water slide? I guess you can go as often as you want.
The kids could go, yeah.
But my boys, after a couple 13, 14 times up and down the water slide, said, let's go back to Minneapolis. Let's get home. I'd rather hang out with my buddies and do this and that and the other thing. But now you're getting ripped.
Uh-oh.
Human beings in a costume. Geez, Tennessee, why don't you give us a spoiler alert? See, there were people out there that thought those were real.
They thought that was actually Mickey Mouse and Goofy and Pluto.
They did.
Minnetonka just scored again. Speaking of spoiler alerts.
So what did we have hockey on the plus. Zach's calling games right now. We might do a couple of live listen-ins just to kill some time. And Zach's really good at what he does. I stopped watching last night's War Road game. They were up 2-0 on Northern Lakes. I'm assuming War Road hung on to win, right?
They did. It was like a 5-1 type game.
5-1 type game. All the favorites won yesterday in Class A. It's 2A today. Is this the first game of the day?
This is the first,
right?
yeah. This is the 1 versus 8 matchup. So Minnetonka now leads Gentry Academy 3-0.
Yeah. So, and then what's up next?
That would be the 4-5. So that's Rosemont versus Grand Rapids.
I think I made this clear yesterday. I don't really have a rooting interest when it comes to high school sports unless it's, my boys went to Eastridge. So, okay, if the Raptors are playing in a section or playing at state, I would obviously my allegiance would be toward Eastridge. But when I picked the high school tournament, to me, Rosemont, to me becomes an easy team to root for because I think I heard 34 years since they were last at state. So to me, it's like, now I know none of the kids on this team were on that team 34 years ago. I get that. So it's this,
it's great for the community, though.
Yeah, it is. The school just has never been this every year. It's you're on the outside looking in. So that's kind of cool. They're a pretty good club. Deuce did some of their games. They'll have their other handfuls with Grand Rapids. They're good, but that's a 4-5, right? So
yes.
On pay. When did they start seeding wasn't there a few years where they would only seed 1 through 4?
They would one seed 1 through 5.
Yeah.
And
was that just not to hurt people's feelings or something? Why would you not
I think
see
it was, and it was ridiculous, right? Because you would end up having the 1 seed would get, what would maybe be the 6 seed, and then the 3 seed would end up playing the 8 seed. It's like, well, that's not fair either. So they're all big kids. They're all big boys. They can handle being an 8 seed instead of a 6 seed. Or
another team that I could find it easy to root for would be. Well, I like the outstate teams because I think it means, when you're in Grand Rapids, I don't know how many kids, like a lot of the private schools, kids go to those schools strictly for hockey, right? Yeah. And, even I saw, what somebody sent me? They sent me a screenshot at comment@KFAN.com, a screenshot of a kid committing to a high school. He's an 8th grader. And he was football, and he said, and they're the Red Elephants. He said, I'm excited to be making my commitment to the Red Elephants. He's announcing his commitment to a high school.
I know.
Well, what's wrong with this picture? It's. But again, that's the way of the world now. But anyway, we'll keep you posted on what's happening. Might even do some live listen-ins. Mark Rosen, of course, just before 2 o'clock here on the Common Man program. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and as I say, peek at the purple, some Vikings news. That's next here on the Common Man program on the Fan.
Wolves.
The 2026 Minnesota State High School League State Boys Hockey Tournament is here, and we are your rinkside destination for all of the action. Catch all the Class AA quarterfinal games today over on KFAN Plus, presented by James Hardy, North America's #1 siding brand.
Before we dive into 534, breaking news. Someone from the 612 says, just drove by Phelan, flags are in, and people are playing golf. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Bop, 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 bop. Some people think it's free agency in the NFL. I think it's when we begin to yell, "Or!" once again. I'll be playing this weekend at Oak Marsh. Spaced out for on my mind. I'm losing. I'm going to Oak Marsh. I'm being notified of all sorts of courses that'll be opening when I learn more. I will certainly let you know. Time now for Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. Spring, I know it's going to get a little colder next week, but I think spring is pretty much here. Perfect time to plan your backyard upgrades. Outdoor lighting, patio outlets, hot tub wiring, garage circuits, EV chargers. Affordable Electric helps homeowners across the Twin Cities get ready for summer. Schedule your project today at affordable-electric.com or 612-331-VOLT. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable Electric, powering your home projects. And remember, they are shockingly affordable. There's a little moisture got into that wiring there. At Tennessee, I saw this from Ben Gessling. This was from yesterday evening. Fish Wrap Factory West Side. He writes, Vikings plan to release defensive tackle Jonathan Allen in a cost-cutting move. A story reads as follows, at least the first part of it says, after making more than $300 million in salary cap commitments during the 2025 offseason, the Vikings need to clear more than $40 million in cap space by the start of the 2026 league year, and they appear set to free up some of that space by unwinding the moves they made last year. In other words, not the most successful free agency offseason for the Vikings last year, as we well know. It's been well documented. They spent some big money on interior defensive linemen, interior offensive linemen, and the results were mixed at best. Our center had 2 or 3 concussions. The offensive lineman guy, Fries, I think his name was, he was pretty good. Not Pro Bowler, but at least he suited up and played every game and provided some resistance to a pass rush. And the 2 defensive interior guys, basically they were brought in to try to provide more interior pass rush. That didn't work out very well, including Jonathan Allen. They signed him to a 3-year, $51 million contract a year ago in hopes of bolstering their interior pass rush, but they're set to let go of the 31-year-old after he posted only 3.5 sacks and 11 quarterback hits last season. So 3 years, $51 million. So basically, what, $16 million a year, let's say? So let's say he made 16 last year. That was basically $5.5 million for each sack, which isn't a bad price to pay for a sack, right? $5.5 million. I would hope to get a little bit more than that. Here's what I tell people all the time, Tim. Let's say he would have worked that whole 3-year contract at $51 million. After taxes, that's really about $35 million. And then you got to buy a house, you got to buy a car, save, invest, flaunt. Can you make $51 million or $35 million? Can you make $35 million last? That's the big question. He won't get to answer it because he apparently is going to be released. The Vikings would save $6.53 million in cap space while incurring $17.33 million of dead money in 2026. They'd receive another $1.5 million cap credit after the season for incentives that are currently on their books for their 2026 books because Allen reached them in 2025. So what all that means, I don't know. They're just out saving money, right? And, when you look at, I brought this up. It was either during big game week and the lead up to the big game, or maybe it was afterwards. But where the general manager of Seattle, to rub some salt into the wound, that is, we let Sam Darnold go and he wins a big game for him as the starting quarterback for Seattle. He says, "Yeah, we pretty much hit on every one of our free agents.
Yeah,
every one they hit.
They were in awe of themselves.
They hit on every single free agent signing. I don't really think we hit on one." And that's a large reason why Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah is no longer the general manager. But as we talked about, it takes two to tango. And, I don't know if we'll ever know exactly how much influence there is from a coaching staff and how much influence there is from the general manager and the ownership and making these decisions. We do know there is input from all. I mean, there's no question about that. There's not a coach in the NFL that wakes up on draft day and goes, "Oh, I wonder who we're going to draft. Well, it'll be interesting to see." I mean, they're all as we've read and we've been told, it's the general managers are the guys that kind of break any ties for sure. They make that final decision, and so that's what we'll find out.
By the way, the current interim GM, Rob Brzezinski,
yes,
has always been known as like the salary cap expert.
Mm-hmm.
Is part of where we are in the salary cap right now, is that on him or is that just all on Kwesi and KOC and Flores?
Well, I don't.
Because even like a move like that where it's still like $16 million in dead cap and we're saving $6 million.
Well, that's a good question because I you know me. I can't answer that. I can't balance a checkbook. I leave that all to my gal. But I think oftentimes I'm going to stick up for salary capologist people because I'm thinking they are tasked with something that's really difficult. It's like, guess what? We screwed up on these free agents. What are we going to do now? Okay. You wanted to sign these guys and this is the money we had to pay them to get them in. I'll figure it out. Just give me a couple of days. And then they go and they start, crunching numbers and redlining but yeah, so I don't know how much on the front end they have as far as the decision-making process. But, I said this a couple of times now where I almost think the cap is, I know it's real. But every team gets under it eventually, right? And so I don't, and people smarter than me can tell me how much it really handcuffs a team from signing players. But every team, I've never heard of a team where they go, "Oh, we can't we can't play our first game this year. Why? Well, we're over the cap, and so we've been disqualified. We won't be playing this year, so we'll wait till next year. So they'll figure out a way to get under the cap, but you can lose quality players that way, like, for instance, Grenard. The conversations the last couple of days, the news came out, was it yesterday, maybe the day before, that, well, Grenard might be a salary cap casualty. And make no mistake, he's not in the same conversation as who did we just say we're
Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave.
Yeah, he's not.
He's got a great contract.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah, he's not in those. He's not. Grenard is a quality player that has lived up to. I believe
he's exceeded his contract.
He's exceeded his contract. Yes, and so because of that, though, he could become, because of the salary cap situation, he could become a casualty, and it's unfortunate. And as we talked about yesterday, people are asking, why would you allow him to go? It's because they're deep at that, or they feel they're deep at that position, because Dallas Turner, who, again, and that's another story. You moved up in the draft. What, 3 years ago was it? Is he going into his fourth year now? You moved up to draft him. And so when you're moving up to draft a guy, what was he drafted at 17 or 12, wherever it was? I don't recall. It was first round pick. You move up, that guy's expected to be a not just a starter, but an impact player. And he had not been an impact player at all until this past season, where he started, especially late in the year. But again, how much is this the competition? Because if you remember, we were playing some teams that really didn't have much going for themselves, and I don't know, but that's the decisions they have to make in the front office. Look, we like Grenard, we love him to stay, but Brzezinski, GM/salary cap guy, goes, we're over the cap, we got to figure something out. So then they move in that direction and let guys go. So looks like Allen's a casualty. I don't know the other defensive lineman. What's his name?
Javon Hargrave.
Hargrave, is he going to be a salary cap casualty? I would assume.
And by the way, he retweeted something that's gotten some attention, because there was somebody ripping Brian Flores and his inability to get defensive tackles to play well and be able to get the quarterback, and then Javon Hargrave retweeted it.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, so Hargrave needs a fall guy.
Yeah, he's got his fall guy.
Yeah, and so Flores is apparently that fall guy. Well, and that's the other thing. We'll talk more Vikings the other side of the break. The mock draft stuff. So I take them with a grain of salt, because I don't think anybody that's reported. We've talked about this, hundreds of times, that other than Purple Prey, most of the media people really, they know the top. You look at the Mel Kiper guide or any other guide, and you know who the top 10 guys are at each position. So media guys, just in order to fill space or fill time on the radio, just go, how about this guy that's ranked third? He'd be a good fit for team XYZ, and then I'll throw him in as somebody they're looking at. Well, they probably are looking at him, but how serious are they? It all remains to be seen. But let's take a break and come back. A Peek at the Purple was brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. Affordable-Electric for all of your electrical needs. Some more NFL talk on the side of the break. Common Man program on the Fan.
There's nothing like live hockey. Experience Minnesota Wild action at Grand Casino Arena all season long. Secure your seats now at wild.com/tickets and join the excitement.
Couple 13-14 past Common Man program. Might have some breaking news. The news really isn't breaking. I think this is... The Bears are going to trade DJ Moore, right?
They already did.
They did, so that is official.
I don't know if it's official, but that's what's being reported.
Okay. Is that, do you think, to free up money for Max Crosby?
Maybe that's part of it. I think it's mostly just they have so many receiving weapons that it's pointless to keep them all, so you might as well get something in return.
Right.
DJ Moore he's the most expensive of their receivers because the other two are on rookie contracts. But Rome Odunze, I think, is going to be a better receiver than him. Luther Burden was a rookie this year, had a good year. They also have a really, really good, about to be second-year tight end in Colson Loveland. So it's one of those where Not enough balls to go around.
Well, then...
So you might as well shed the salary of the
But then what I'm saying is it works out perfect for him. It's like, hey, this is great. Kill two birds with one stone. We've got enough receiving apparatus that we can go ahead, and the guy's pretty good, but a little longer in the tooth, makes more money. We can part ways with him. We still have receivers, and we free up money for Max Crosby.
Yeah, it's a win-win-win.
It's a win-win-win.
And DJ Moore gets to catch passes from Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And it's a win for Buffalo because they have given Josh Allen zero help like the last year or two.
PSTs tend to be. Kevin Gore's been nominated.
Really?
Yeah. This is from Dave. He says, Common, today during the he sent this, it was yesterday's game. Today during the broadcast of the game with Hibbing Chisholm versus Dodge County, Hibbing Chisholm went up 1-0 with a couple minutes left in the second period. Dodge County had an offensive zone faceoff coming up. Gorg said something along the lines of, Dodge County doesn't need to score here. They just want to get out of this period only down by 1 goal.
I always love
Roughly
that one.
75 seconds later, Hibbing had scored twice, making it 3-0 after the second period. Tend to be, the PST committee will need to look it up for proof. So, Kevin Gorg.
I don't even need to look it up. I'm just going to trust that was what it said. That sounds exactly on brand.
Yeah.
For Kevin Gorg.
Yeah, well, and then Deuce sent me a text. This is what he says. This was at 11:27. He said, some Channel 5 commentator just compared Minnetonka to the 1990-2000s New Jersey Devils. And then I said to Deuce, no, he didn't. You're making that up. You have to be. And he said, I wish I were. So somebody on 45, we'll have to find out who it is.
Maybe it was Pat Micheletti. He's on there right now.
Maybe it was Micheletti. I bet it was Micheletti.
I guess they're just saying because Minnetonka is such a great defensive team, I'm guessing, because they are just loaded with the stud defensemen.
Okay.
I'm guessing. I don't know. So I'm guessing they tried to make the comparison.
Try to compare to another high school hockey team that's had some great defensive success. Even if that is the case, then we've never we've never let taking things things out of context getting in the way of PST. This is Michael Russo. You sent this to me. It's a tweet from Russo. Wild trade tracker. Pursuit of Trocheck fading as price remains too high for Bill Guerin. Our latest #MN Wild update. I said this, and again, I'm not paying as close attention. I'm certainly not the hockey expert on this show or in anywhere, really. But as well as the team has been playing, look, I'm not opposed to making trades to improve a team that's already really good. There's you know what? Tend to be good is the enemy of great.
Correct.
Just in case you didn't know. So if we're a good team or a really good team, why don't we take it to the next level? Because you could even say we're a great team now, but why don't we be a super duper team and trade for some talent? Because as I was saying the other day, and you and I talked about the semantics of, being all in, and you said, well, we got more than 1 year, and you're right. But I just mean for this year, the way the team's playing, the momentum they've got going, how this season's been. You're on a roll here. You've shown to be one of the best teams. So I don't mind saying, you know what? Let's go ahead and add another player. They added the big six guy who was like a fourth liner, you
McCarron.
said. And then who was the other guy they got?
Which, by the way, Matt Zuccarello had apparently, I saw Joe Smith of The Athletic tweet this. He had a funny line. Because the last time they played Nashville, Zuccarello kind of went to do a little slashing motion after the whistle on McCarron. Mm-hmm. And McCarron acted like the slash hit his hand, even though it didn't. Mm-hmm. So he started faking like, oh, my hand hurts. You got me on the hand. So apparently Zuccarello met McCarron today. He's now with the team.
Right.
And the first thing he said was, how's your hand? Just genius. Yeah. It's a brilliant line.
Think about it. And did he say how his hand was? Did he respond?
I don't know about the response. I didn't see that reported.
So we've been the Wild. I think you've told me we've moved a lot of players to acquire players. Our assets are a little lower than other clubs. Is that correct? Future draft picks?
Well, we've given a lot of them away.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have a second round pick for the next 3 years. And think we're missing our first round pick for this year.
You know the NHL better than I do. I know in the NBA, basically, and again, I know there are arguments. There's always exceptions to the rule. Joker was a 40th pick overall. But generally speaking, you got to get a guy in the first round, and usually early first round if he's going to be a kind of a franchise kind of a player. In hockey, the second round pick's better than the third round pick. How many rounds are there in the NHL draft? How deep?
7, I believe.
7, so like the NFL. I guess in seconds not, but how many of those guys turn out?
I mean, I couldn't give you a percentage. I mean,
Right.
even first round picks don't turn out.
Yeah.
But then you get your random like Kirill Kaprizov, who was a 5th round pick. Second rounders are typically going to be NHLers.
Okay.
And you're going to get some stars out of there occasionally. But yeah, just like any draft, the higher you are, seems like a lot of the franchise changers in the NHL typically come out of the top 5 picks.
Randball wrote a piece yesterday just talking about the various teams and where they are, where they've been going, where they're at. And he writes, while GM Bill Guerin, who's been on a roster-building role spanning both his NHL club and gold medal-winning team, USA men's squad, had a succinct and candid answer when asked why the Wild were willing to part with a second-round pick to add depth center Michael McCarron on Tuesday. Guerin said, that second-round pick is not going to help us right now. If we have to get it back in 3 years or whatever, maybe we can do that. Almost what Danny Campbell said. I brought up Campbell's quote a couple of times. He said, you guys have been spending a lot of money on players. And he goes, yeah, we'll keep spending it until we run out of it. So I guess you just keep trading prospects till you run out of prospects and get your team. So this sounds like that quote, whenever that was, if it was Tuesday. Here we are on Thursday. But now he's saying, well, or Russo's reporting that the price might be a little bit too high for Trocheck.
Yep.
Which kind of flies in the face of, well, these prospects aren't going to help us now.
Which, by the way, I hate that quote.
You do?
Well, you could say that about any future draft pick isn't going to help you right now.
Yeah.
So you could just recklessly spend and give all your draft picks away. They're still important. And yeah, they might not help you right now, but it could help you in 2027 and 2028 to have those picks. But I don't know, Bill Guerin's been around for a long time, and, he might be thinking if we don't win now or in the next 2 years, he might not be around then anyway.
Yeah, that could be part of it too. I think sometimes, and maybe I'm wrong here, I think sometimes trades or lack thereof are judged on, well, the guy's worried about his job, the general manager. Yeah, I guess. I mean, everybody's worried about job security, but if all you're worried about is job security, I think you're going to have a hard time fielding a really good team because you're going to be slow to make any decisions. You're always going to be too conservative. That's why I've said all along that it's, Rosen brought up the name George Allen. The boomers know who he was. He was a coach for the Rams and for the Washington back when they were the Redskins. And his famous quote is, the future is now. And he traded any draft picks to get veteran players that could lead the team into a big game. Now, Allen...
That's literally the Wild's tagline right now, by the way. That's what they're like doing commercials around. The future is now. Well, that's what they're calling it. Yeah.
And so I don't mind... I don't mind that. I know what you're saying, but I'm tired of... If you're always worried about... It's what Johan Santana said. He said back when the Twins weren't acquiring, they weren't spending any money, and a trade deadline, they weren't going out and getting anybody. He said they always seem to be worried about the future here rather than the now. I'm paraphrasing. He said maybe some of us won't be a part of that future. So if I'm on this team, now that being said, I'm contradicting myself to a certain extent because I've said, well, this team has played so well right now. Do we really even need to make a move? I'm okay if.
Well, you're also contradicting yourself, and I get it's different sports and it's different position, right. But like the Jordan Love thing, right? You at the time when we were having the debate of, hey, the Green Bay Packers could draft a wide receiver in this spot to help Aaron Rodgers get them over the edge and go to the big game, and you said, well, it's the GM's responsibility. He's the caretaker of the franchise. He is responsible.
Yeah, but you're right. What's your preface to with that's to me that's apples and oranges.
I get it's a little apples and oranges.
It's really
but I guess my point is that's the hard thing about being a GM, right? You always have to ride that fine line of now and in the future, and I think you're responsible for both.
Yeah, but
I have no problem with them trading second-round picks. I have problem with them trading second-round picks for a fourth liner.
I think it also
that's where my problem stems from.
Well, I think it all depends upon too where a team is in its history. The Wild have been awful for their entire existence. Awful, simply awful. I mean, I know they've
been mediocre.
Yeah, mediocre.
I wouldn't say awful.
Okay, mediocre.
Yeah.
All right. The Wolves. That's why when the Wolves traded for Gobert, I said, I don't know if that's going to work, having two big guys. That hasn't worked since, was it Elijah Wan and Sampson? No one's tried two big guys
Duncan and David Robinson
at the same time. But as bad as this team has been, I'm willing to try anything. I don't care about a second round. If you get I'd pay whatever it takes to get Trocheck. If you think that, unless you look at it and say, Trocheck offers us a lot, but I don't know if he offers us a lot where it's like, well, that's the final piece. Now we really have it. Because the way they've been playing now, you could say they've got a chance to go all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals with the team they currently have. But I don't worry so much.
Well, the problem is, though, like if you spend too much on Trocheck and now you have no assets and then some big fish hits the market and you're not in that market anymore.
Yeah.
So that's the risk of doing it. Like to me, it's not. I'm talking about the second rounder in 2028. It's not even necessarily about that pick. It's about also using that as an asset to go get someone else.
Yeah,
and we just wasted it. So every little bad move like that hinders your ability to make other bigger moves in the future.
Well, if you believe that trading a second-round pick for a fourth for McCarron guy is a mistake, obviously Billy Guerin felt different. Why does Guerin, and there are other people, I've seen the message boards, there are other people that think trading for what is basically a fourth-line guy for a second-round pick was a mistake as well. Why would Billy do it? What does he think about McCarron and where the team is?
Because he's all in.
And I am too. And I support him on it. I'm all in. It doesn't interest me to be what we've been forever. And that's like, maybe we get into the first round of the playoffs and God, what if we spring it up? What if the Jacques Lemaire thing was great where we defensively, we were so good. We were able to get our ways to the Western Conference Finals, but I'm all for it. I'll ask you this.
I'm all for adding. I just don't like that move.
I'll ask you to you this way. If you traded Royce Lewis and were guaranteed you could win a World Series, one World Series, would you trade Royce Lewis?
In a heartbeat.
If you knew you could trade that second-round pick for McCarron and that would win you a Stanley Cup, would you be willing to make that
No
trade?
doubt.
Okay. So if they win the Stanley Cup, will you apologize to Billy Guerin, especially if McCarron is instrumental in it?
If he's instrumental, yes, I will. If he's in the press box the whole time, I won't.
Yeah. What if you're not invited to the parade then? Critical of the general manager. To me, it'd be hard to be critical of a general. You can pick apart any.
Well, I'm critical of that move.
Yeah.
I'm not critical. There's other moves. He's been the Quinn Hughes thing was
right.
An absolute grand slam. I love that move, and he gave up a lot for him. But that was a terrific move. The Quinn Hughes move put this in a team where now we can talk about them going all in. Because now you look and go, man, they're not that far off. They got a lot of star pieces to work around now.
Yeah, I mean, he dealt.
So, I mean, he put them in a position with that move to.
He dealt to get Hughes, wasn't it?
Rossi,
Ogren, and Bouillon?
And a first. Zeev Bouillon.
That's a lot of capital.
It was. But Quinn Hughes is worth it.
Yeah. Maybe McCarron will be worth a second round. It's a second round pick.
But what if another Quinn Hughes type player is on the market at some point in the next year? And it's hard for you to get him because you just wasted away a second round pick for no reason.
I don't think the second round pick would be the difference between getting the next Quinn Hughes and not. If that is, then there's something.
But I'm just saying they're already limited in their assets now, so you don't want to just waste any of those.
Yeah, but if they re-sign Quinn Hughes, they're not going to have any money to sign the next Quinn Hughes coming out because they've already got Kaprizov on the books and they've got Hughes on the books. They're going to have Boldy on the books. They can't add much more high.
Boldy's actually very affordable
for now.
Well, for the next 3-4 years.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you think they could afford another big contract like a Kaprizov contract?
Depends on how much the salary cap goes up. But
yeah, maybe so.
They're under the assumption the salary cap's going to go up significantly. Now, we've had a lot of years where the salary cap barely moves, so I don't know what to think of when it comes to the NHL with that.
This one says, BG traded for McCarron because Sturm has been terrible since we got him in the offseason. McCarron plays the same game, but is bigger and wins more faceoffs, which is huge for this team. This one says, I think the only reason they traded for him is because Foligno will be out for quite some time.
I think that's something to do with some toughness insurance.
And a guy that can win, bigger and can win some faceoffs. That's huge for this team.
I don't have a problem with them acquiring McCarron.
But if that's the only way what if
it's giving up a second-round pick for McCarron?
What if they overpaid. What if they said it's a second-round pick or you can't have him?
I would look somewhere else.
Wait, hold on.
There's got to be.
Oh my gosh!
There has to be other guys that play centers that can win faceoffs in the league that can play a fourth line for you.
Doesn't a big defender in the playoffs sound awfully good? What am I missing? They're starting to pile up on you now, Tenneby. I'm going to start with a new slogan. In Billy, we believe. In Billy, we believe.
This is the problem now. Is like now this is going to turn into I'm anti-McCarron, which I'm not. I'm just anti-McCarron at a second-round price.
Yeah. What if it would have been a third-round pick?
Sure.
So third's okay, but not two.
There's a big difference.
Yeah, there is.
Second-round players in the NHL still have a decent chance of playing in the NHL someday. Once you start getting a third round, it's wild, wild west.
All right. I think we're getting a bit picky, but you're allowed to do that because you are the Jolly Green Giant.
Thank you.
I'm, for me, second-round pick. You know what? When we run out of money, we'll stop spending. When we run out of players that can help us win right now, this year. Because you know what? We don't know what the future. What if Hughes decides I'm not going to sign there? I'm going to New Jersey. Well, then the window's closed.
That might be why Bill Guerin's trying to go as much all in as he is.
Yeah, so let's be... if you really want to win, you got to be all in. If you really want to win...
keep Quinn.
If you want to keep Quinn, you got to be all in. If you want to keep Quinn, you're not joining me on the chant. Come on, Tenneby, get on board. If you
want to keep Quinn, you got to be all in.
If you want to keep Quinn, you got to be all in. Well, we'll see how it goes. Trade deadline is tomorrow, 2:00. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that is the trade deadline, 2:00.
Blake Moore will help you out with that tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
He'll be rubbing it up.
Yeah, he'll be rubbing it up at Ryder Cup, rubbing it up at Stanley Cup. Let's take a break. We'll come back. 534 Tenneby. And what do you got for us?
Will Mayday in Green Bay return?